Galatasaray beat Gençlerbirliği 2-1 in a very critical game after Fenerbahce losing points against Rizespor in the last second yesterday after a very early goal from Mauri Icardi and Yunus Akgün in the first half. We were 2-0 up after 45 minutes. In the second half, we got a disallowed goal and Gençlerbirliği scored one goal. And from there on, it was a bit tricky. But after all, I believe that Galatasaray played very well in the first half. First of all, Galatasaray's 11 was not as I expected, at least, with Uğurcan Çakır in goal, Salai as right back, Abdülkerim and Sanchez as centre backs, Jakobs as left back, Torreira and Sara as central midfielders, Sané and Barış as wingers, Yunus as a number 10 and Icardi on top. Maybe the player who surprised us the most was Mauro Icardi, who took, the opportunity and scored a very critical goal. So I'm just so happy for that. I'm one of the people who has, criticized him a bit for his performances and his form. But to have a player like Mauri Icardi on top there, you will always have one or two centre backs always following you because he's always smelling goals. And the run from Mauri Icardi there on the first goal after 2 minutes. First of all, Gençlerbirliği was in a low block, and Leroy Sané there taking the touch in front of their winger and just beating him in the 1 versus 1. Then you're opening up everywhere. He played a fantastic pass to Mauro Icardi, but Yunus Akgün touched it and he got the assist. But and Mauro Icardi took that deep run, just a beautiful goal, and his finish. Mauro Icardi in their 16, he doesn't need to think twice there. So it was just a beautiful start and a goal. In the first half, I believe Galatasaray had full control there. On the second goal, again it is Leroy Sané. I'm not going to say, oh, I said this or that, because about Leroy Sané, I said it in the previous video that Leroy Sané for me is a very up and down player and he needs to perform much better. Yes, when he is doing something good, it is fantastic to look at. Today, he was the player who opened up everything that we created. And on the second goal, for example, the thing is, when Leroy Sané is passing to Gabriel Sara there, who played as central midfielder, to have a player who's running there in the opponent's box, it is so important. And then Yunus Akgün is in the box as well. When, for example, Gabriel Sara is playing as that number 10, Lemina or Torreira isn't the players who is following up in the box there. So it's just so important to have a play like that as well as Gabriel Sara. Because when you have one extra man in their opponent's box, their players is being dragged down. So, it is much harder for them to counter, to win the second balls when they're winning the balls and so on. So we started with a very offensive 11 here, as Salai as a right back, not Lemina but Sara and Torreira, Barış and Sané, for example, Yunus as a number 10, even Mauro Icardi as a striker. So, and in the first half, I believe that our pressing was good, our high pressing. And, with Salai, he doesn't let your winger breathe whatsoever. You can say everything about this 1 versus 1 when the wingers are facing towards our goal and getting, time and space to run forward and dribbling, then Salah is not the best in the world because he's not a natural fullback. But, when the team is good in the pressing, he is very important there as well. As we saw against Juventus, for example, when Kenan Yildiz couldn't breathe at Rams Park. And then you see in the opposite, when we played in Turin, he struggled a lot because of the team was weak as well. Therefore, Okan Hoca started with a good 11, I believe, and almost no one would have put Mauro Icardi there, but Okan Hoca did it. He has probably seen something in trainings that we haven't seen, so that's very good for Mauro Icardi. It's very good for Okan Hoca. And to have a natural striker is just so different than, for example, having Barış Alper there, especially against low blocks. We know that Volkan Demirel is playing in low blocks. So, yeah, therefore I congratulate the team, of course, for the win, because Fenerbahce got draw in the last second yesterday. So this game, I talked about it that before this game, that I really want to see a good performance and see that we have some kind of a plan. And to be honest, in the first half we saw that, because Gençlerbirliği had one touch in Galatasaray's box, which means that we had so much control, and we were just very good in the high pressing. We were very good when they played the long balls and winning the second balls. Um, it was not like we dominated and created thousands of chances. You don't need that either. Just have the control of the game. That's the one of the things I missed from Galatasaray lately, that we're controlling the games. And it's not like attack, defense, attack, defense. Uh, Gabriel Sara played some fantastic passes, opening up the defense as well as Leroy Sané. And yeah, the first half, I think that was very good. But again, thinking about Fenerbahce losing points, then I mean, it is very important to just win the game. How we are winning it is not the most important. But let's say Fenerbahce had won yesterday and they were leading the league. You would have, the dynamic change. You want to see that the team is showing something else than, a very strong performance or whatsoever. But to face Gençlerbirliği away when they're fighting for relegation on that pitch, you saw how the ball bounced. I don't want to make that as an excuse, but it is very difficult to play against. So yeah, first half very very good. Then the second half, the elephant in the room, Yunus Akgün's offside where Leroy Sané scored. This is the offside, the passive player Yunus Akgün was. First of all, the passive thing, it only seems like it belongs to Galatasaray, that rule, when we are scoring goals. It's the third time this season against Kocaelispor and Konyaspor. I can't understand it whatsoever. This either, because first of all, I have seen other much more clearer passive offsides where they have given goals. But when it is Galatasaray, it's the very small things they are shutting down straight away. But here, for example, look at Yunus Akgün's arm and Gençlerbirliği's defender's arm. I can't understand is this even offside? Can Yunus Akgün score from that? Maybe, I don't know. Where should it take the line from? But look at Gençlerbirliği's arm there. It's even further than Yunus Akgün. I don't understand this. This is so critical, because here it is 3-0 or 2-0. 3-0, Gençlerbirliği would have been finished whatsoever. 2-0 there, you're giving them some kind of food or, energy so they can still survive. I don't think this is offside, to be honest. Maybe I'm not objective and I'm a Galatasaray fan, but I can't understand that, if it is passive or not. I don't think he's involved enough. That's one thing. Another thing here is this even an offside? I can't even see it, to be honest. I can't even see it, because for me the line is wrong somehow, if you ask me. Because where are you taking the line from? Don't want to repeat myself too much, but this is for me very strange. Anyway, Gençlerbirliği scored straight after. Where are midfielders with, especially if you're looking at that goal again, Gabriel Sara is too late. He's not, taking out his zone, and Torreira is a bit late. He's not the best to follow the runs in in our own 16, as we saw against Kocaelispor as well, where he's struggling there. Both of them was way out of position. What Jakobs is doing there, I don't know. It's just a messy goal to concede, and our team looked a bit tired, to be honest, in the last 30 minutes. But yeah, it is what it is. The most important thing here was the 3 points, especially after Fenerbahce losing points. I'm just so happy. We are going in with 4 points ahead of the Fenerbahce derby. I'm not even sure in this squad, is this a good thing or is it a bad thing? Would the team have been more, um, more on if we had been behind Fenerbahce or what? So I don't know. But again, 4 points, of course. I would much rather have 4 points ahead than being down, trying to chase Fenerbahce whatsoever. So I hope we are really going in with an offensive mindset to that game. But before that game, it is a midweek game against Gençlerbirliği again in the cup. So yeah, maybe he's going to rotate there, I believe. And of course, with some players giving them the rhythm to play. For example, Leroy Sané needs more, playing time to get back into his good old form he was in when he played in Fenerbahce, Bodø/Glimt, Ajax, and so on. So yeah, that was it, guys. If you like this kind of content, please hit the like button, subscribe button, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.